I'm here at the Debtwire Forum at the Sheraton Park Lane, and I'm with Andrew Wilkinson, who heads up Goldman's restructuring group in Europe, and we just come from a restructuring panel that kicked off the panel sessions for the day. Andrew, what were your key takeaways from the panel this morning in terms of the themes for restructuring going forward in next year?
I think the key takeaway, sitting as we do in the middle of October 2011, is that it's incredibly difficult to predict what the opportunities within the restructuring industry will be for 2012. And the principal reason is that it all revolves around assessment of political risk. To what extent will the European governments, ECB and Commission, be able to resolve the debt issues facing Europe? Either they will successfully resolve them, or will be unsure whether to resolve them, or they will singularly fail, and there will be a hard default in Greece, and that will have a profound impact upon financial institutions across Europe, which will govern the degree to which there will be interesting restructuring opportunities or not across Europe.
And in terms of when you think those opportunities will arrive, will they arrive early next year, or do you think it will take longer to come through?
I think it entirely depends upon the speed of the bank recapitalisation process. The largest pool of assets potentially within workout are held by Europe's commercial banks. The speed with which those assets will either go into a restructuring process or be part of an attempt to raise new capital will depend on the state of banks' balance sheets. That will depend on two things. One, agreement on what the required regulatory capital for Europe's banks is. Is it 8%? Is it 9% Tier 1? Two, having established that, how will the banks be recapitalised? And I think until those two issues are addressed, it's not realistic to think that large pools of assets in workout within banks will either go through a hard restructuring or be sold.
And the other thing that was mentioned on the panel earlier was the comparisons between 2008 and where we are now. Do you see the potential general economic downturn affecting the number of cases coming forward, or do you think this is less likely to happen this time around?
I may have been slightly more optimistic than the other members of the panel. I mean, I did think this would be like the end of 2008 or 2009 for the following reasons. One, I think there is not the general pressure on liquidity there was in 2008. Two, the sort of systemic shock of repeated large-scale bank failures, both commercial banks and investment banks, which was the characteristics of 2008. Hopefully we will not see, and regulators are very focused, I think, on making sure that does not happen again. And thirdly, we have to remember that in 2008 the slowdown was very abrupt and severe. I mean, the stories were international trade for a few weeks in Western Europe ceased. That shouldn't be the case this time around. To the extent that there is a European recession, as some commentators are suggesting there will be, it should be far milder and shorter than the recession that we endured in 2008. So for those reasons, hopefully, the downturn will nowhere near be as severe.
And just finally, this event obviously goes on all day, and there's a number of different sessions covering a number of topics. As of now, as a conference attendee, what are you looking forward to?
Look, I think the feature of the Debtwire conferences I've enjoyed. First of all, very well attended. The restructuring community is not a huge community, but most come to this conference. And what I'm looking forward to is listening to some interesting presentations and meeting lots of old friends in the coffee break.
Okay, well,
thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew.